All right, well, welcome back to the Beyond Sunday podcast. My name is Josh Hensley. I'll be your host today, but I'm joined around the table by three gentlemen that you know very well. Two of them that don't show up on the podcast very much, so we're excited to have these two. We'll get to those here in a minute. But first, my left-hand man here, because he's sitting to my left, Paxton Redd.
Hey.
Paxton brought the message on Sunday. If you haven't noticed, that's kind of the rhythm we go through.
Picking up on patterns here.
Yeah, you got that patterned Paxton?
Yeah, the puns and the patterns. I've got all of them.
Pun Master Paxton. Pun Master Pastor Paxton. Kevin said Pastor Paxton on Sunday.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah. And when I'm introducing myself to people a lot of times, because they know I'm a pastor already, when I introduce myself, I'll say, hey, I'm Paxton. And they say, Pastor what? Because apparently pastor and Paxton sound so
They're
similar.
Expecting you to say pastor.
Yeah.
I think we just need to go back to brother.
Reverend.
Brother Reverend Paxton Redd. But anyway, we got Paxton here, which is always a blessing. To his left, we have the David Rambo.
What's up, guys?
Now, David, last time you were on this podcast, you held a different position, I believe.
I think you're correct, yeah.
Yeah, so David, he's been a resident with us for 1.5 years now. The first year, he was the kids resident. And now, for this second year, David, you are doing what?
I am the discipleship resident, so I'm working right alongside Pastor Paxton. And we are just working together. I'm working under him, trying to figure out ways that we can best disciple our church, our family there. So it's exciting. We got a lot of stuff coming up, and I'm just grateful that I get to be a part of it.
That's great. And here's something that is just the icing to top it all off. This is the new worship associate. Tate Wells is on the microphone today.
Yay!
Hey guys.
Tate Wells, we're so glad that you joined us
Excited
on a microphone.
It sounds like Eeyore over there. Oh, Bob.
That's all right. He's going to do great. He's going to recap the sermon.
I'm gonna
No, before we get started now,
I've been thinking.
There it is.
And you guys got to ask, what have you been thinking?
What have you been thinking, Pastor Josh?
Yeah, so I've been thinking since Sunday about how the culture of basically the church has changed. Okay, so Paxton, you talked about the church, and the gospel and how the church carries that forward on Sunday. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of look at some maybe truthful, maybe false, maybe a stretch, maybe not so much a stretch, of that church would never. That's what I'm going to call it.
That does sound kind of fun, Josh.
That church would never, ... Because, I mean, if we face it, we've seen a lot in the church culture world these days. And, I mean, Newark is guilty as all get out.
No.
To be doing some crazy things.
Like what?
I mean, llamas for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
And man, that was
Allegedly
so popular.
A llama.
It was.
Yeah.
Allegedly a llama.
It was.
Oh, don't go there.
I'm bringing it up. I'll take it out.
Tate, tell us what you're thinking. Like, what's the problem
I'm
here?
just thinking that thing, like, if you go on Google Images and look up llama.
That's not a llama.
I'm just saying those things are a lot uglier than the creature that was at our church.
Well, we must confess, llamas are mean. And we searched near, far, and wide. And there was nobody that was willing to bring their llama to church because they spit and bite. Okay, so we got a very near relative to the llama, the alpaca.
And alpacas are cuter anyways.
Alpacas were much cuter, and that truthfully was what we had on Mother's Day, was an alpaca. But it had a llama
Sorry,
cut.
guys. Sorry.
It had a llama fro, much like my son. He's got a llama fro.
I don't know.
He's here, by the way.
I don't know if people will trust us anymore.
Well, I mean, if you like the photos, you like the photos. But you know what? We've got to kind of draw a defining line, because sometimes it appears one way and it's not that way. So today, that's what this game is all about. We're going to draw a line between fiction and fact, between faith and fallacies like the alpaca in the form of a llama.
Fallacy.
So we're calling this game, Let's Play The Church Would Never. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a story that's questionable all the way around, okay? And you're going to tell me if this is really a church did this or if this is all made up.
I'm not putting much past people.
I agree. I mean, I kind of read through the list and I don't know. But anyway, first church story. All you got to do is say real or fake. This church installed a fog machine and confetti cannon to celebrate baptisms.
Definitely happened.
That's real.
That's real.
Is that real?
100%.
It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen crazier things.
Even if it wasn't real, that's real. Like,
Well, baptisms are celebratory, right?
For sure.
We just created a baptism box.
Oh, it is.
Did you guys look in it?
It's so good.
very nice.
It's awesome.
It's got a confetti cannon in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a little confetti.
yeah,
It does. It's got a
confetti
confetti popper in it. But it's really cute. Nikki Heiserman, our connections director, she put it all together, and she kind of has a list on the inside of the box that says what all of the pieces inside the box mean and what you're to do with them, and there's scripture to back it up. It's kind of cool. But baptisms are celebratory, so that's real.
The church in this story is actually Newark Fellowship.
Totally possible. Second one, this church had a blessing of the pets Sunday where someone brought their pet snake to be blessed. And you never guess what happened. It got loose in the sanctuary.
Is blessing of the pets something that actually happens at?
I know people love their pets, but
Yeah.
I don't think
Sure.
I've ever really seen a blessing of the pets.
I've not heard of that.
I've seen the advertisements for them. I don't know about the snake getting loose. I heard about a squirrel getting loose one time, though.
Ray Stevens.
Yeah.
What do you
The squirrel went berserk.
Sleepy little town of Pascagoula.
What do you bless them for? Like, they don't do anything.
That's the question, David.
Okay. Well, I think it's real. I think someone brought their pet snake, and of course it got out.
I definitely can see that happening.
I'm going to say real.
You guys are batting 100. It is real. What? 100's not good, is it, Aaron? Sorry, my son Aaron.
Aaron's here, guys. Woo!
1,000. We're batting 1,000.
There we go.
All right, next one. And you may be confused because if you've ever been in a mic check with Michael Sheeran, you might feel like this could happen at Newark, but a church held a WWE-themed VBS where staff dressed as Bible character wrestlers like Samson the Smasher and Esther the Eliminator.
I know that church.
You know,
It was also Newark Fellowship.
Yeah, we're actually planning that.
Get excited, guys. I just feel like there have been too many truths in a row, but this also like has to have happened somewhere, right? Like, I feel like this is
Like, I've had multiple people from our church say that they want to see Cliff and Hunter Ezel WWE wrestle. So, like, I'm going to say it's true.
I'm going to go real.
yeah.
no, it's fake.
No, it happened.
You guys are crazy.
I think that's happened somewhere.
I'll name the church off air.
If Cliff listens to this, he's going to be like, yes, a VBS WWE thing. All right, here's another one. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. A church elder rappelled down from the ceiling during a service and stole the offering box.
What?
So, Mission Impossible.
Like maliciously stole the offering box? Like it was like trying to
Listen,
steal.
that's all I got.
I'm going to say it's an illustration, and I'm going to go, yes, it's real.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me. And I'm gonna say yes.
I mean, I've seen pastors, like, fly with cords strapped to them, so I'm going to say it's real, too.
All right, and I just made this one up. But it's real.
Yeah.
And it happened at Newark.
Oh.
When?
Mark Namey connected a rappelling rope from above the pulpit and ended up rappelling down off the rope and grabbed. It was, I think, it wasn't when I was here, but the way it was described was like they had this building, this church building, offering box that was going towards the church building or something like that. And he came down and he stole it.
Was this for like a VBS or something?
I don't know. I think it was during an actual church service.
I love that it's marked though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if it was going to be any of them.
any elder, I want
Any
to mark.
All right, we got two more. This church replaced pews with bean bags and recliners and created a comfy church experience.
I'm going to say false just purely out of like it's too generic. Like it's not specific enough. I'm going to say this one's false.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you.
I guarantee you it has happened
See,
somewhere.
that's the thing, is that I think it has happened, but I'm just going to say that for the sake of this list, it's going to say false.
Gotcha. I'm going real.
It is.
Are you like looking it up?
That's fake,
Like,
Okay.
but it totally sounds like something. You
oh,
would
absolutely.
That's also going to happen in Newark Fellowship. Get ready, guys. We got a lot coming.
All right, last one. This church had a worship in the wild, a night of worship, Sunday, where they held services in the zoo.
Oh,
That's true.
I'm in on that. Let's do it. But loud music in a zoo probably doesn't work, right?
And they didn't
Scare the
have,
animals?
they don't have to have loud music.
I'm seeing it now, Tate.
What would the point be?
Yeah, next night of worship.
Next
Going to
night of
Nashville
worship,
Zoo.
we sing "So Will I," and all of creation worships,
The
and you hear
chimpanzees are just
Yeah,
yelling,
we're right in
throwing
front of the bear
stuff.
exhibit, and they're
Elephants.
like trying to get out.
Bears.
Yeah, but this is fake,
Yeah.
but for the moment.
Soon to be true. Come back in a few weeks.
So yeah, that's my game for the day. Real or fake? That church did what? But anyway, what we're talking about this week is we've started a whole new sermon series. It's called "When in Rome."
Man, I absolutely love this series, and we're just getting started.
You
That's what
started it off, Paxton.
I'm most excited about this more so than I am about any series that we've done to this point, just because I absolutely love the book of Romans. So yeah, Sunday we kicked it off. Paul starts off the book by talking about the gospel, and so we talked about the gospel as well. Really just three things. Paul loves preaching and teaching and sharing the gospel with people because he knows the richness of the gospel, because he's unashamed of the gospel, and he knows that the gospel will have a global impact. And that last point, we talked about that the church in Rome already had a famous faith. And I think Paul was longing to get the gospel to Rome because he knew that it would have such an impact once it got there and had a firm foundation in the city of Rome, because it was the center of the universe at that time. And so I think one of our challenges is how do we take that same message, right? That can still have a global impact, and how do we take that gospel to go and share it with others still, to where it can still have that global impact. So I love the idea of famous faith, and I told the folks at New Work on Sunday that I want that to be true for us, right?
Yeah.
Let what happens at New Work be talked about all over the world, not because of who we are or what we do, but because of who we serve and how we make him famous.
And that doesn't just happen by happenstance.
No.
Like it's not just something that happens magically or just without effort. It happens when people commit themselves to the sake of the gospel. Their lives, their families, their worship, their service, when they truly take themselves and say, God, here I am, use me.
Yeah.
God has all the control, all the power to make that happen.
For sure.
Because that's all he's looking for. He's looking for people who are willing to give their lives for him.
Yeah. Man, when I was in college, I had a pastor friend who was also a professor that was getting ready to go plant a church in Boston. Actually, our young adult mission team is getting ready to go work with his church in Boston. But he was leaving Campbellsville, Kentucky, to actually Springfield, but to go to Boston to plant this church. And he asked me, he said, Paxton, would you and Chelsea consider going with us? And I'm thinking, oh man, he wants me on his team. And so I went home and told Chelsea, we were talking about it. And so I went back the next time I had him in class. I was like, hey man, what would you want me to do? Like, what role would you want me to have on your team? And he goes, like, man, I'm just looking for people to be Christians in Boston. Like that's what I'm after. Like, I just want people who are willing to be Christians wherever the Lord calls them. And I was like, it was very humbling, but it was actually very eye-opening, because exactly what you said, Josh, the Lord can use anybody that's willing to be obedient to him and willing to follow after him and say, Lord, whatever it is you want me to do. You don't have to be a pastor. You don't have to have a particular role on a team. What you have to be is a Christian.
Yeah.
I mean, we see it all the time, right? I mean, I don't think any of the guys in this room, besides Aaron, are that special, like, yeah, God's not looking for someone who's got some crazy abilities, crazy like ideas. He's just looking for everyday people, and honestly, that's who can make the biggest impact on other everyday people, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think some of those day-to-day things are, like, that show up on the register in heaven, right? Like, heaven recognizes these things, but maybe people don't. What are some of those day-to-day things that are people living out their faith that sometimes get overlooked?
I think I call back to the end of your sermon where you talked about the 3 responses. And it put into my mind such a simplistic view of how I can question myself. Like, where am I at right now? And in that moment on that Sunday, I was needing to be obedient. I needed to turn to obedience. So I think people just having those moments in their day where it's a lull to really ask themselves, like, God, what do you want me to do? God, where do you want me to go? How do you want me to act today? Or, God, notify things or show me things in my life that are drawing me away from you, and how can I, stop those? How can I get away from those? Or simply, God, I have not been having my faith in you at all this past week, this past month, and I'm sorry, and I'm making a change now. So just like looking at those 3 things is a really simplistic view for people to just question themselves every day, to journal, to pray, to read the Word with those things in mind, and then go about the day trying to challenge themselves in those.
Well, I think about the people that Jesus chose to be his disciples. They were not the typical people. And that's kind of what threw a wrench in the whole thing. That's kind of what made people mad about it. It was like, well, why wouldn't Jesus go to the synagogue or the temple and find these people that are already committing themselves to him? Like, those are the people that know the scripture. Those are the people that could really support Jesus in what he's doing, but that's not who he called. He went and he found people, tax collectors, fishermen. He went and found doctors. He went and found the people who the world would consider unqualified.
Just people living their lives.
Normal people. And they made the biggest impact.
Right.
Now, they definitely left everything and followed him. But I think in our world, how do we live out a life that's unashamed? Well, we have to be in connection with ourselves, David, like you were talking about. Like, we've got to understand who we are as a person, who God created us to be, because when we do that, we realize God has given us gifts and talents. He's given us different things, experiences, connections with people that others don't have. And so simply saying, God, use me the way that you created me to be.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more satisfying than that. A lot of times we feel like, oh, well, I've got to leave everything.
Yeah.
And yes, there's a command in there to leave everything and follow me. But we look at that and we go, leave the thoughts of the world behind, leave the success of the world behind, and pursue God in a way where he can use you, where he can take a banker, or he can take an insurance salesman, or he can take a farmer and say, God, how would you want to utilize me? And I want to make myself available.
Yeah. And the Lord needs those people, right?
Right.
I mean, he doesn't need us. Let me rephrase that. The Lord doesn't need us, but he wants to use people like that. He's not just looking for the next pastor. He's looking for the next you. He just wants you.
I see it all the time. I love getting to hear people's testimonies where they're at work and they're like, yeah, that day I was just faithful and I shared the gospel with my client, or I shared the gospel with my coworker. And then I hear these stories of now the entire business or that entire section of where they're working is now all going to church together or holding each other accountable, or they made a whole ministry of brothers or sisters from that place. So God's not just looking for us to work in the church, in the physical church, in that building, but He's looking for us to go out and be obedient in all that we do.
Yeah.
And that's why we got to bring it back to, like, He's looking for you.
Yeah.
He's not looking for the next, pastor or Instagram influencer. He's just looking for you.
Yeah. I got to know, are there people that come to your mind when you think of famous faith? Like, this person that you know come to your mind?
I mean, immediately Billy Graham.
Yeah.
Gosh, that guy lived his faith out for years and died living his faith out.
Absolutely.
That's where I want to be.
Yeah. Are there others that you guys think of?
I think on a smaller scale, but Billy Graham is awesome and he was famous, but I think on a smaller scale, when I think about famous faith, I think about this guy that was in Celebrate Recovery. His name's Nathan. He works in the Celebrate Recoveries around here in Hopkinsville and Cadiz, and he just has a famous faith. He goes to all of these churches with these Celebrate Recovery, pouring into these guys and these ladies who are battling addiction and recovery because he's been there. And to see how on fire for God he is and how obedient he is to just go around, like, he has a job. And it has nothing to do with ministry. He is just doing this because he is being obedient to what the Lord has called him to do, and that's to speak into people who are like him.
Yeah. Yeah, my mind immediately goes to ordinary people too. Like, just these people who are ordinary, you don't think anything about it, but their faith is so big and has such an impact. I can think about people in every place I've served, every city, every community, and just think about those individuals who just exemplified the famous faith, and famous in the sense that it was their faith that was so well known. It wasn't necessarily them. And I can't help but think nobody will ever know their names nationwide or worldwide for sure. But their work is going to be well known in heaven, like, because they're making an impact that's seen all over the globe.
There's a scripture that talks about the word of our testimony.
Yeah.
And the way that we approach the world, the way that we overcome sin, the way that we set our eyes on Christ is realizing that it is by the blood of Christ that we've been saved. And it's by the word of our testimony that we make that real to those around us. And the ending of that scripture says, "For they love not their lives even unto death."
Yeah.
And so it's this surrendering of oneself to the point of, till death, I'm going to do this. It's not just a temporary thing. While we lived in sin for a temporary time, faith is lived out even to death. And I think that's what Christ is looking for. It's a sacrifice of our own selves, the way that we live, the way that we speak, the way that we pursue the things of this world, the way that we really invest ourselves into things.
Yeah.
Like, invest yourself into things that are future, that are kingdom related.
Right.
Because the things of this world they'll fade away.
Absolutely.
And to relate kind of to Paxton's, like, ordinary people, just having that famous faith, it calls me back to VBS. Just to see all of those people give up that entire week to serve these kids, to sacrifice their time. Because I know a lot of them, they would just get off of work and then immediately come here and deal with 10 to 20 kids at a time and creating lessons or creating games or creating mission projects, just seeing our church body, people who have ordinary lives and ordinary jobs, contributing so much to the kingdom.
Absolutely.
Every night.
That was the most volunteers we've ever had, right?
Yeah.
Was it not?
Yeah, record-setting
And
volunteers,
that's
record-setting
no,
attendance.
it's no small commitment.
No, the average number of volunteers we had at VBS was 208.
Yeah.
That's volunteers.
Yeah, that's
and we all had shirts. We all had these yellow shirts.
Right. All of us had the shirts, guys.
Some of us wore them.
Yeah.
Some of us are committed to the team.
Yes,
Right.
Tate.
I was always wearing a Newark shirt.
But we had 208 volunteers, and we had 361 kids during one of the nights, with 348 being the average attendance.
Crazy.
Like I was telling somebody, this is the most consistent VBS that we've had in a long time. There wasn't big sweeps in numbers. It was like we were having consistently the same number of kids each night. And I think it's evident that at the end of the week, we have so many decisions for Christ.
Yeah.
Whether it's baptism or following Christ and first-time salvation kind of decisions. Those are the stats that are just so amazing to me.
For sure. And every one of those decisions, those 208 volunteers played a part in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Whether they were in the conversation where that kid is talking to someone or not, it took every single one of us to make that happen.
And I think one of the most important things that contributes to having a famous faith is you just keep showing up. We were all tired come Wednesday. We were all exhausted. But to just see all of us push, keep showing up, keep following God, keep obeying what He wants us to do, keep pouring into the kids, even when we're running on empty ourselves. It's just, that's how you have a famous faith. Even when you don't feel good, even when your emotions are at a low, even when you're tired, just the ability to keep showing up, keep following Him, keep listening for Him. Those are the moments that really contribute for you having a famous faith.
Well, that's because what you're doing is you're creating a relationship. And whether it's VBS, whether it's your work, whether it's your family, continually showing up in a consistent manner and being that same person, being a person that points people to Christ is going to be noticed by others. The reason the kids wanted to come back wasn't because if I got perfect attendance, I might throw out the first pitch at the Hoppers game, even though that was kind of cool. But it was because they had teachers in mind, like, oh, I'm going to see Miss Dottie, tonight. Oh, I'm going to see David again tonight. Or I'm going to go to rec and I'm going to see Griffin or Aaron or all the different people that are out there that just really made an impact on them that week. It says something when you show up.
Yeah.
And so relationships are super important when you're trying to make people understand who Christ is. Because it's your testimony, it's your relationship that draws them to that and points it out.
And we want you to keep showing up, especially this coming Sunday, because we're still in the book of Romans. However, if you've picked up on the pattern, the guy who's up next is not here at the table today. Yeah, Pastor Michael is going to be preaching in the book of Romans this coming Sunday. Still in chapter 1, still at the front end of it, so I'm not going to steal any of what he's going to be talking about.
It's rich.
The whole book is, minus the first sermon. It gets better, man. It just keeps getting better.
Paxton, you had a rich sermon on Sunday. I heard somebody saying, like, they had one of their 3 was with them on Sunday, and they said, I knew that the message was about the gospel. And they said, I prayed the whole time. Like, God, speak to them, speak to them, speak to them. They said, I was convinced that God was doing something in the moment. I didn't know whether it was going to be a decision that day, but that God was truthfully speaking to their hearts. And, that's my prayer every single week is that people come expecting to hear the message of Christ. And I think Romans is going to do that each and every time.
Without a doubt. There is something about this book that it literally does. It changes everything. And so you're going to get the clarity of the gospel and you're going to get the depths of theology. I mean, it's all here in this book.
It basically lines out our faith.
It's going to be great. First Sunday, message just pierced right through my heart. And I was like, dang. I'm kind of scared for the next couple of sermons then, because if it's already like this on day one. I'm so excited to see where the pastors take us for the rest of the sermon series. So
Which goes to August 31st.
it's gonna be great.
You got a lot of heart piercing to go through.
I just gotta stay prayed
Your
up.
heart's going to have holes in it everywhere. But like we said last week, and Kevin talked about it on Sunday, if you need a refresher for your chair time, now's the chance. Like, start reading through Romans. Read a chapter a week, whatever it is. I promise you, it's not going to feel like you read a whole chapter. Yeah. Romans is one of those books that's just, it's super readable. It's super to understand, and you'll enjoy it because it'll go right along with our sermons each and every week. Yeah. But allow this to be that little nudge. I need to get back into my chair time. I need to get back into my devotion for that. Because it's not only happens on Sunday that God uses that time, but God will be faithful in your study and your devotion to Him, that a lot of the things that you read will come up in conversations because you're mindful of them at your work, at your place where you study, whatever it is. He will allow you to understand His Word better when you're living life with it. But we're so excited that you joined us this week for the podcast. Sad to say Michael couldn't be here, but Tate, we are so blessed that you were here.
I'm also sad that Michael couldn't be here.
You did so well. David, congratulations on your new position.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, guys.
Since January.
Only took 6 months for the congratulations.
Yeah, only took it.
We did not tell him at the office. We did not say anything to him, actually. We spoke to him this whole time.
Yeah,
He thought he was still with kids the whole time.
I got new business cards, so that's great.
They apparently have his phone number on him.
If you ever need to reach out to David, it's on his business card.
There you go.
But nonetheless, David, sign us off here.
Well, guys, we are so glad that you joined us for another week of Beyond Sunday. And we hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. And that is it. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, America.